Wewe wananiongelesha Jumisi. Thanks for making time to be with us at this particular time. It is exactly 2 minutes to the top of the hour here on Lookuptv. This is the insight on this, of course, for the 4th day of October 2023. Now, many stories have been making headlines across the country today. Top among them, of course, is the Health Cabinet Secretary, that is Susan Nakumisha, appearing before the National Assembly, and of course revealing that KEMSA, that is the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority, will get an additional 2 billion shillings. That is, of course, to facilitate the purchasing of drugs amid the drug shortage in the country. Now, that among many other stories that we've prepared for you, including the closure of Regi Girls High School following a disease outbreak that left students unable to walk. Now, let's just first of all, let's have a look at what's making headlines tonight.
Tonight on The Insight,
we want the regime in power to suspend any other activities, planned or ongoing, and focus on stopping these killings.
Fresh ethnic clashes in Sondu on the Kericho-Kisumu border after 3 people were killed on Tuesday night. Former Mama Lucy Hospital social worker jailed for 35 years for child trafficking. And a Regi Girls School closed a day after students were admitted to hospital with mysterious illness.
Now, remember, you can watch this particular bulletin live on our Facebook and YouTube pages at Lookuptv. I am Ian Keitani, and our sign language interpreter is Josephine Auko. Now, we kickstart this bulletin with the Sondu clashes, and members of parliament drawn from the Nyanza region have raised concern over insecurity in the Sondu area along Kisumu-Kericho border, where 4 people have been confirmed dead. Now, the leaders who claim the conflict is politically instigated are calling on the government to act with speed to end the escalating conflict. Ruga Ival with the details.
Political leaders from Nyanza region, led by Minority Leader Opiyo Wandayi, have this afternoon addressed media on alleged deadly attacks maimed on residents from Sondu region as a result of border row between 2 neighboring counties of Kericho and Kisumu. However, their parliamentarians are alleging that the attacks are politically instigated by some leaders from the neighboring communities.
So we want the regime that is in power currently, and there's only one regime in power, as you all know, to move with speed and arrest this situation before it gets out of hand. We want the regime in power to suspend any other activities, planned or ongoing, and focus on stopping these killings. Because if left unchecked, these killings have got the potential to snowball into a civil strife that would eventually become unmanageable.
The leaders now calling on respective security officials to intervene and take charge, since these attacks has so far led to 4 new deaths. They have also called upon the Ministry of Interior Security to act with speed to end the killings before it escalates to a tribal war.
It is a shame, a big shame, that we have the PS of Interior, Mr. Raymond Omolo, coming from Karachuonyo, right next to this area of Sondu, quiet and busy organizing political meetings in the region and parties while the people are being killed in Sondu area. Why must they continue to be killed when we have the Ministry of Interior and we have the PS of Interior actually coming from that region? And indeed, I will not be surprised that at this particular time, he's not in that area, busy organizing political meetings for purported visits. This must stop, and it's a shame.
As a country, Kenya, say we are going to send policemen security to Haiti to secure the security of Haitians, when we in Kenya cannot secure the security of our own people. Either we are pretending to the international world, or we are deliberately hurting these people in this particular area. It cannot be otherwise. If we don't have the capacity, how can we then send people to Haiti?
Nonetheless, police officers had earlier dispersed youths who had barricaded the Katoto to Sondu Road at Nyambondo Junction in the morning. Ruga Ival, Lookuptv.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, news reaching our desk at this particular hour is that there has been a cabinet reshuffle. I repeat, there has been a cabinet reshuffle by President Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Of course, this comes just a day after the president, of course, led the cabinet meeting at State House Nairobi. Now, remember, a few weeks ago, the president was very vocal, saying that some of the ministers, or rather some of the cabinet secretaries, were not even aware of what was going on in their ministries. And of course, again, this comes at a time when the president is also scheduled to visit Nyanza region in the next, which of course a visit that comes in the next, will be happening in the next 48 hours. Now, just some of the changes that have been made is that Musalia Mudavadi, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, is of course will now be the prime cabinet secretary and lead the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs. Miss Rebecca Miano will now be leading the docket of investment, trade and industry, initially held by Honorable Moses Kuria. Alice Ome has been moved from the Ministry of Water and Sanitation to the Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development. Zakaria Njeru has been moved from Lands to the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation. Honorable Penina Malonza has been moved from the Ministry of Tourism to the Ministry of East African Community, the ASAL Areas and Regional Development, initially held by one Rebecca Miano. Dr. Alfred Mutua has been moved from the Ministry of Tourism, now Ministry of Foreign Affairs, now under Honorable Musalia Mudavadi to the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife. Moving forward, that is Honorable Moses Kuria, who has been moved from the Ministry of Trade, is now the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service Performance and Delivery Management. And finally, Aisha Jumwa Katana is now the, of course, Cabinet Secretary for Gender, Culture and Heritage, or rather the culture, the arts and heritage. Now, as well, there has been reassignments of principal secretaries, and just to take you through some of the, of course, changes made by President William Ruto. Mr. Hasama Kelo is now the principal secretary in the State Department for ASAL and Regional Development. Mr. Julius Korir is now the principal secretary in the State Department of Water and Sanitation. Geoffrey Kaituko is now the principal secretary, the State Department for Shipping and Maritime Affairs. Mr. Shadrach Mwadime is now the principal secretary, the State Department for Labor and Skills Development, while Dr. Paul Keirono is the principal secretary in the, of course, State Department of Crop Development, or for Crop Development. Mr. Idris Salim Dokota is now the principal secretary, the State Department for Cabinet Affairs, while Miss Anne Wangombe is now the PS, the State Department for Gender and Affirmative Action. Finally, Ms. Veronica M. Nduva is now the principal secretary, in the State Department for Performance and Delivery Management. Remember, of course, this is news that are now or currently reaching our desk. The reshuffling of the cabinet by Dr. William Ruto, His Excellency, that is the president, is of course this move coming just a day after he led a cabinet meeting at State House Nairobi, and a few weeks after he cautioned some of the cabinet secretaries of not being aware of whatever happens in their respective ministries. Just some of the highlights is that the Prime Cabinet Secretary will now be the Prime CS, as well as lead the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Musalia Mudavadi, by the way, there was a time when there were talks regarding how many times he is out of the country representing the president on foreign trips. As we speak, it's just from Burundi, where he was meeting Burundian president. And just so now you know, he will be leading the Foreign Affairs docket. We'll be bringing you more details in regards to that particular story. And of course, the president has as well, of course, nominated ambassadors, or rather nominated a few ambassadors to different countries, or rather ambassadors and high commissioners to different countries. Just to give you a feel that Ambassador Tanu Irena has been, of course, nominated as the ambassador of Kenya to Ireland, that is, of course, in Dublin. Ambassador Willie Bett is now the ambassador, has been nominated to lead the, of course, ambassadorial role for Kenya in China. Jen Wirimu has been, of course, nominated to be Kenya's ambassador to South Africa. Ambassador George Morara Orina has been nominated to be Kenya's ambassador in Ethiopia. Colonel retired Shema Madi to lead, of course, be the Kenyan ambassador to Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Sabdio Dido Bashuna, of course, has been nominated to be the ambassador of Kenya in Botswana. Mr. Jeremy Nyamasondola to be the ambassador of Kenya to Juba, South Sudan. Jeremy Laibuta to Khartoum, Sudan. George McGoe to Djibouti. Joyce Hamiswa Maisi to be the ambassador of Kenya in Angola. Ambassador Philip Mundia Githiora to be the Kenyan ambassador in Mozambique. And finally, Isaac Keen Parashina to be Kenya's ambassador in Nigeria. We'll be bringing you more details on those particular reshuffling and nomination of various people various ambassadors to different countries across the globe. Now, as we move forward, as we, of course, prepare that particular story for you, is that former Mama Lucy Hospital social worker has been sentenced to 35 years in prison for child trafficking and negligence. His co-accused has been sentenced to 2 years in prison for pay fine of 300,000 shillings. Now, Regan Lemiguran with the details.
Years ago, a child theft syndicate of two former social workers of Mama Lucy Hospital was brought to light, exposing the illegal trade in the capital, Nairobi.
Bail bonds, policy, and I must mention that as stated by the prosecution,
The two were charged and found guilty with stealing and selling babies at a foreign cost of between 100,000 to 300,000 Kenya shillings.
Age 8 days to 3 weeks. The offense of human trafficking is now an emerging trade and a transnational organized crime, which has a grave.
Despite a spirited fight by his lawyers Danstan Omari and Martina Swiga to reduce the sentence, Magistrate Kemelu noted that the accused was not remorseful.
I have considered the mitigation by the defense as well. The convicts are first offenders. Although first convict apologized through his lawyer, it has been stated that he holds a diploma in medical social work, and he has worked for several years. He ought to have appreciated the gravity of the offense. It is a finding of the court and the probation. It is a finding of the probation officer that he is not remorseful. He lacks empathy for others.
The court clarified that Leparan will spend 25 years in custody and 10 years of probation under close supervision.
Back to the community, out of the 35 years pronounced in his sentence, he will serve the remainder of 10 years under probation sentence, which will be he will be put under close supervision.
Regan Meguran, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
In sentencing, she is the first.
Now, after the completion of the first phase of the bipartisan talks on Tuesday at the Bomas of Kenya, all eyes are now on the National Dialogue Committee on the technical team that is set to retreat and draft a concrete report of the 256 memoranda submitted before it in less than 23 days, as approved by the bicameral House. Stanley Ligaria with the details.
The bipartisan talks anchored on 5-point agenda including electoral justice and issues related, including restructuring of the Independence Election and Boundaries Commission, boundaries and delimitation review, review of the 2022 presidential election results, incorporating in the constitution the office of leader of the official opposition and the office of the prime cabinet secretary, infidelity to political parties was the discussion, and finally inclusion in the constitution the National Government Constituency Fund, the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, the Senate Oversight Fund and the Ward Representative Fund.
What should your view be in the establishment of new constituencies or new county boundaries that are largely along ethnic lines?
So far, the two political rivals seemingly opposed to some of the key topical issues as raised in the over 256 memoranda submitted by the public, as raised during the talks by the stakeholders appearing before the committee. Proposals by former Attorney General Githu Muigai, who indicated to contradict the idea of boundaries increase, instead proposing a reduction of counties and constituencies, his opinion going in an alternate way with that of the National Parliamentary Caucus, who have already a bill that is recommending an increase in the number of counties and parliaments by 11 and 27 respectively.
I just want to ask all Kenyans that God gave you an opportunity to serve. Please, when you have served and people have respected you, let other Kenyans also serve. And also, get our opportunities, because there is no other way. The government is the biggest employer, and the business of government is to create opportunities. So if one of the opportunities is to have additional counties so that people can get employment, so be it.
Despite the hard task ahead, there is already tension between the two rivals on certain agendas, such as on the issue of reforming the elections, with Kenya Kwanza strongly opposing the proposals to review the 2022 presidential results, while Azimio stressed the need to why the results need to be audited.
It is a critical thing that we're involved in. We are not taking our responsibility lightly. We hear your challenge that a lot is expected of this small team. We will do the best we can. Help us out also out there, because there are people who feel threatened somehow by the work of this committee. We mean no ill will to anybody. We just want our country back.
Stakeholders have insisted that some of the proposals can be done without a referendum, through a debate to be raised, discussed and approved by at least 2/3 in both parliaments.
Pro rata, that means that it is about a third of the population. So if we get 9 billion shillings in Migori every financial year, then it means now the new county is going to be Kuria County with 3 billion shillings, no 4 billion shillings, and the remaining 5 billion remains with the original Migori. So there is no additional money. It is the same money that is coming from the 15% shareable revenue on matters devolution.
At the end of this month, the committee is expected to have completed preparing the report to present to the speakers of both houses. Stanley Lugaria, Lookuptv.
Oh, thank you very much, Stanley Lugaria, for that particular story. Remember, like I said, the breaking news that we have at the moment is the reshuffling of the cabinet by President Dr. William Samoei Ruto. And like I mentioned, of course, the different cabinet secretaries reassigned to different ministries. But as well, the new government spokesperson is Honorable Isaac Maigua Mwaura. That is the new government spokesperson, as appointed by President William Ruto. The deputy government spokesperson is now Ms. Mwanaisha Shizuga. That, of course, is our fellow journalist who is now the deputy government spokesperson, and the other deputy government spokesperson, because now there are two as appointed by President William Ruto, is Mr. Gabriel Mudhuma. Now we are going on a short commercial break, but I'll be back with more on that particular reshuffle and many more other stories making headlines tonight. So don't go away.
As part of our service improvement strategies, the authority has adjusted its operating hours. In this regard, all NTSA banking halls and offices will operate Monday to Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Additionally, NTSA offices will remain open to the public on Saturday 30th September 2023 and Saturday 7th October 2023 from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. to enable number plate collection. We humbly request motor vehicle owners who have received message notifications on collections of reflective number plates to visit the centers they identified during the application process. For more information, visit our website at www.ntsa.go.ke. This information is brought to you by the Director General of NTSA. NTSA, keep our roads safe.
Are you looking for experts in waterproofing systems, concrete admixtures, flooring systems, refurbishment solutions, roofing, sealing and bonding, and building finishing systems? Look no more, as Sika Kenya got you covered. With over 113 years of experience, we offer our customers a comprehensive one-stop shop experience and the best technical support. Our products are available in all leading hardware stores and building merchants across the country. Call us today on 0711 140 232 or 0786 140 834 or email us on sales@ke.sika.com. Sika Kenya, building trust.
Infinity Industrial Park is one of the largest private industrial parks located along Eastern Bypass, Nairobi, which provides modern infrastructure for smooth operations for industries and business enterprises. Infinity Industrial Park offers world-class amenities and facilities with wide roads, a police station, a power substation, fire station, public transport stage, hospital, and shopping mall. In addition, Infinity Industrial Park also offers CCTV cameras, 24-hour private armed security patrol, sewer, water, fiber optic cable, and 3-phase power connection, added to public utility, canteen, and dining areas. Sail on the golden opportunity to invest in Infinity Industrial Park fully serviced warehouses at a special price of 3,569 Kenyan shillings per square foot. For more inquiries, visit our website infinityindustrialpark.com.
We got good news for you. You have the opportunity to win up to 100,000 shillings cash money from Kuza Bees. It's easy to participate. Just open M-Pesa, Lipa na M-Pesa, account number 825454, account name right, Lookuptv, then deposit 99 shillings only. Remember, the more you participate, the more the chances of winning. Hurry now and be one of the winners of the Daily Cash Awards.
This game is BCLB licensed and is not open to persons under the age of 18 years. Play responsibly.
Well, many thanks for staying with us, and just of course to still keep you updated is that in the list of those who've been nominated to lead or for various ambassadorial roles in different countries across the globe, I know many expected to see notable politicians in that particular list, but that has not been the case according to the list that we have from State House Nairobi, of course, of those who have been appointed by President William Ruto. Now, the notable, of course, changes, and according to a statement from State House, it says, pursuant to Article 132, 3B of the Constitution, the following ministerial portfolios have been reorganized as stated. And one of the notable changes is that the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary has also been expanded to include the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs. That is one big move that remains notable. And of course, other key ministries have been reconstituted and renamed. For example, the Ministry of Gender Affirmative Action has been reconstituted and renamed as the Ministry of Public Service, Performance and Delivery Management, among other key reconstitutions in the cabinet. Now, let's get going again, and Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumisha has refuted claims that Kenyatta University medical students were deliberately denied access to the Kenyatta University Hospital for their training and research activities. Nakumisha, who was appearing before the National Assembly's Public Investment Committee on Governance and Education, instead blamed the management of the university. Mevin Getembe now reports.
William Ruto's agenda, with the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority on the spot over massive corruption.
From all these universities, the DVCs, the what? following a legal notice number 4 dated 25th of January 2019, established Kenyatta National Hospital as a parastatal, which stopped authorization process and the university to hand over the hospital to the Ministry of Health. In a meeting that brought together the Ministry of Health, Education and National Treasury, the three saying that there was need to work together, Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu supported the move, adding that this will benefit both ministries and therefore all students should be allowed access to the hospital.
Even when I work as Minister for Education, there is the bigger picture because we are one country, we are one government, because even as I make a decision as Minister for Education, there are so many other factors that we have to take into consideration.
According to the Ministry of National Treasury, construction of Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital was financed by a way of concessional loan agreement between the Government of Kenya, represented by the Ministry of Finance as the borrower and the Export-Import Bank of China as the lender, for faculty of close to 9 billion, which the ministry says neither Kenyatta University nor Kenyatta National Hospital is paying.
I have to actually state that the construction was commenced and actually completed, and this is a burden that is being shared by the government instead of the ministry, the National Treasury. That's the first thing. The second thing is the financing of that construction, and the construction that started in June 2011, and the government was represented by the Minister of the Finance, which was the borrower, and this costed approximately 8.7 million. But the most important thing is to clarify that neither the university nor Kenyatta, it is important to clarify that neither Kenyatta University nor Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Research Hospital is carrying the burden of repaying their own.
The committee sought to know why Ministry of Health does not include the Board of Management of the university in the operation planning of the hospital. Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumincha, in response, now says she will engage all relevant authorities and will make sure that all students are allowed access into the faculty.
We have had over 500 inquiries of Kenyans who would like to use that facility. So far, the waiting list, I'm told, is over 100 people already confirmed waiting to use the facility. Therefore, even as we discuss, we may want to put the bigger picture into perspective of the patients that would be waiting to be served.
Mevin Getembe, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Now, still on matters of health, that is Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumincha has hinted at the government funding the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority in a bid to curb the shortage of drugs in the country. Appearing in the National Assembly to answer questions regarding her docket, Nakumincha noted the challenges NHIF faces while assuring the legislators that modifications are being made to make the fund more successful.
On President William Ruto's agenda, with the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority on the spot over massive corruption and irregularities in awarding of tenders, the authority is set to receive a boost of 2 billion shillings in a bid to quell the shortage of medical supplies in the country.
We have had challenges in our supply chain. We have had challenges in our key institution, KEMSA, in terms of being able to meet all the essential drugs and supplies to avail them to the counties. Our fill rate has been very low. And the reason being that we have not received payments in time from counties when they do order for supplies. And equally, we have dead stock of COVID supplies that we are struggling with. So, Madam Speaker and honorable members, we have had a conversation with the Executive Office of the President, and we are in the process of recapitalizing KEMSA with 2 billion shillings. And this is to ensure that they buy the essential medical supplies so that then we can able to get 100% fill rate for all the essential supplies that are ordered for by the counties.
Appearing before the National Assembly, Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumincha was put to task as to why the National Hospital Insurance Fund only caters for consultation, with the CS hinting that plans were underway to modify the fund to cater for a huge chunk of medical costs, the fund having received 14 billion shillings in the last 3 financial years.
We have now a defined essential benefits package where all Kenyans will be able to access services without a limit and without exclusions. And therefore, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, I would like to seek indulgence of members that you allow us to go through the reforms that we have put at NHIF so that all this myriad of challenges that we experience, we can be able to put them behind us.
However, the CS called for patience as the fund undergoes modification after members of parliament decried the plight of patients as the modification continues.
Does it mean that, Honorable Speaker, does it mean then that no NHIF services will be provided until when we transit? That's a danger given that people are outside their sick.
Services at NHIF are continuing to be offered, and we are continuing to work. We have actually just finalized a governance issue where we now have a CEO who we shall be announcing in the next few days. We have directors who are now going to ensure that management of NHIF as it is, even as we plan for transition, is able to operate optimally.
Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
Now, KCB Women Volleyball Club have banked their 15th Kenya volleyball title after thrashing long-time rivals Kenya Pipeline 3-1. The Bankers, who are the African champions, qualified for the finals after a superb finish against Detectives sailing through to the finals.
I'm overwhelmed. I can't explain the joy I have in me. It has been my dream since I came to KCB in 2019. I wanted this title very bad, but I thank God it has come at the right time.
To have lifted this trophy, and I say thank you to my team, technical team, and every player that was in the court today. They fought it all, and we managed to get this win.
Now, round 2 of the UEFA Champions League takes center stage tonight with 8 matches set to kick off. Antwerp play Shakhtar Donetsk. Atletico Madrid will seek to continue with their win against the Netherlands side Feyenoord. Other matches on the deck are as follows. Well, those sports stories brings us to the end of this bulletin tonight. But remember, before I sign out, is that there has been a cabinet reshuffle. And by the way, there is one thing to note. Now, a few months ago, KEMSA was on the headlines for all the wrong reasons. Of course, that is in regards to the irregularity in awarding of tenders that is concerning the mosquito nets. That was a tender worth 3.7 billion shillings. Now, that did hit the headlines, but after that, people were suspended, others were sent home. Among those who were sent home or suspended was KEMSA CEO Ms. Terry Ramadhani. Now, like we all do, we expected that they will be taken to court. And of course, charges praised against them, because it has been, an order of the day in the country for people to be suspended, but action is not taken. Now, just so you know, and the reason I'm talking about Ms. Terry Ramadhani is that Terry Ramadhani has been nominated by President William RUTO as the Deputy Ambassador of Kenya to New Delhi in India. Question is, how suitable is she? Now, many thanks for joining us tonight. A very good night from me, and of course, all the team that made this a success. Many thanks. Our sign language interpreter has been Josephine Oko. Until tomorrow, do have yourself a lovely night, and like always, God bless.